Hey, Kevin here. Hope you're enjoying the episode.
Hey, who are you talking to, Kevin?
Listeners of our shows, I also want to let them know that if they're enjoying what we've been doing, they can support us on Patreon.
Oh, Patreon. Were you going to tell them about the early episodes? Also, Patreon-exclusive episodes that can be found there, too?
Well, yeah, I was going to do the
whole... yeah, and then there's the other cool stuff, including art, merch for subscribers, like tote bags, hoodies, shirts, mugs.
Yeah, and...
Can you believe people could support us for only $5 a month? You're definitely going to mention that, too, right?
I was. Support Supernatural Selection and The Distraction Hole on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. Visit patreon.supernaturalselectionpod.com to learn more and get started today.
Flem lives.
Flem lives. Yes, I love that scene in Tron. God, what a terrible joke to start with. Hello and welcome to Supernatural Selection. I'm your host, Kevin. With me this week is Mike the Skeptic. Mike, how you doing?
Fine.
Yeah.
Slightly phlegmy because I just ate.
Yeah, same. That's man, the Flemcast. And we've got Mr. David Davis. David, are you phlegmy? How are you?
I'm not phlegmy. I'm just glad I'm not an insurance company CEO right now.
Goddamn right. Yep. He inscribed the casings anyway. We are not talking about that this week. We're going to talk about that next week. So, before we get started, I want to remind everybody that we have a Patreon. And you get early episodes. Yeah, you get early episodes. And there will be more bonus material coming in the new year because I am getting some gumption. So
good.
It may just be
Forrest
us.
Gumption.
Yes, it may just be us watching stuff and ripping it without an audience. But we're going to be doing stuff because I got a YouTube channel we can watch documentaries on now.
Well, you know me. I love shit talking. So.
Yep. Well, we're going to shit talk some stuff thanks to Dr. David Coe. So that's going to be great. Also, the zine, once again, is still out. Head to supernatpod.rocks/zines to download this year's zine. It is free. And we have had a lot of talented people put stuff in there. Myself, David, and Mike all have something in the zine. So definitely check that out.
And the feedback on it's been pretty good. So I'm excited.
Good.
You know, for our first zine, I think it really came together.
Yeah. Like the rug. It really tied everything together, man. Also, the new store is open. You can go to our website at supernatpod.rocks, click store in the menu. We have new shirts up, and we have more coming soon, including your adorable Keep It Spooky.
Yeah.
That is adorable. It's a little ghost.
Yeah.
But we're going to have even more shirts coming, and we also have the Fuck Off Piss Boys shirt.
Oh, we got that Christmas shirt, too.
Yes, we do have a Christmas shirt.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Did I actually get that up yet? I need to check
No.
I need to get that up this week. Oh, my God. We'll have a Christmas shirt up.
Do we have the yokai ones up, too?
Nope, not yet.
Fair enough.
I know for a fact because I just got the art from you recently, and things have been crazy at work.
Yeah, so more shirts are coming.
Yes. There's going to be a lot of talk of coming this week. But lastly, my webcomic, The Errand Apprentice, and David's comic have been updating.
Yes.
So you can head to hpkomics.com, correct?
Yep.
For yours, and you can... Oh, God. You can head to drunkduck.com and search for The Errand Apprentice because the URL is needlessly ridiculous.
Don't you have a landing page for everyone?
No, that got shut down. My
But
hosting died.
you still have the domain though, yeah?
I do not. It expired and got snapped up before I had a chance.
Damn. Well,
Yep.
we'll figure something out. But
Yeah, it's all good. So, guys, I am really excited this week.
you sound jubilant and boyish. Buoyant. I appreciate it.
Boys, like oh boysies, I'm oh boisterous. I am just really excited because we're finally going to talk about Skinwalker Ranch, which is something I've been interested in since, Mike, do you remember Sightings on Fox?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Since then, like when the X-Files were new, which is a long goddamn time. Now, I know that, like I said, I've been following the ranch story on and off since around 96. But before we actually get started, I want to know, what did you two know before I infected your think meats with this crap?
Well,
I knew absolutely nothing.
Okay.
yeah, like I always associate it with like the wave of stuff that ruined the History Channel. You know, like Ancient Aliens and that sort of thing. Like again, it's supposedly a place where there were skinwalkers and there's UFO sightings, and that's about all I knew because when I saw it, like the previews, I just kind of like tuned out. I'm like, no, this is not what I come to this channel for.
Well, that's understandable. I just love the fact that I didn't actually know there was a show until more recently because I don't watch cable. Well, before we begin, I really want to get some biases out in the open right up front here, okay? That way I can kind of keep them out of the main episode. The original intention of this episode was to be a hit piece. One of our character assassination episodes. Because in season 12 of Mystery Science Theater 3000, they watched a movie called The Day Time Ended from 1979. And while not a one-to-one comparison, it bears striking similarities to the initial Skinwalker Ranch story. Like enough that when I saw the movie, I started calling bullshit on Skinwalker Ranch. But now, I'm not entirely sure. I think maybe something is happening on the ranch, but we'll get to all that later.
And that's not the only time MST3K has like worked its way into an episode or a topic. We discussed the sequel to The Legend of Boggy Creek when we covered the Falk Monster.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of callbacks in this episode. You see, I feel like Tom Gorman, quote unquote, as we're going to call him, may have seen The Daytime Ended at some point, like on a Saturday matinee. And he used the paranormal stuff that was happening on the ranch as a base, and then he mixed the film in for some embellishment, and then tried to sell the land in a very Scooby-Doo-like real estate scheme.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, the entire thing kind of has a Old Man Weatherby feel to me. So, anyway, this episode is going to cover the original incidents on the ranch. We'll be dealing with a more modern phenomenon and the TV show in a future episode. But for now, let's talk about our source, which I've got one source, and it's the only one that matters for this topic. There have been several books written about Skinwalker Ranch, but the only one that matters is Hunt for the Skinwalker. Science Confronts the Unexplained at a Remote Ranch in Utah by Colm A. Kelleher and George Knapp. Colm Kelleher was there during a chunk of this, and he had direct access to the family on a regular basis. He was a member of the National Institute of Discovery Science. He was hired by Robert Bigelow to research this. And George Knapp was someone that, Mike, you and me mentioned way back in Lazar Focused. At the time, he was a respected reporter in Las Vegas, covered the mob and stuff like that. And now he's the UFO guy and hosts Coast to Coast AM sometimes.
Mm.
And yes, I am aware of Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. We're not talking about that. We're going to talk about that in part 2. So hold that out there in podcast land.
This is history. This isn't.
Yes, this is the basis for what that show is. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's start with a little bit of history. Now, Skinwalker Ranch is in the Badlands of Utah, specifically in the Uinta Basin near the town of Vernal. I'd say it's an odd place to raise cattle, but I don't really know anything about farming or ranching, so I'll defer judgment on that.
The basin is nature's corral.
As long as it's not the Golden Corral.
Oh, wow, yeah. Somebody stuck my bull in the chocolate fountain. Oh, boy. Yeah, but the history of the ranch itself is tied in with the extremely complex and troubling history of the United States and its indigenous peoples.
Ooh.
Yeah, despite all signs to the contrary, this is not a history podcast, and we're not going to dive into the highly troubling nature of how we've treated the Native Americans, but we will cover a few things here.
Well, I mean, to a degree, we are a history podcast, but it's just like really dumb history.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that one.
We're behind the dumbasses.
Oh my God, I think we've got a companion podcast. Well, okay, so the ranch and surrounding area was originally set up as a Ute. It's the Ute tribe of Native Americans. It was set up as a reservation, quote, in perpetuity.
So that means like 5-6 years, right?
Yeah, the government almost immediately started taking land back to sell for homesteading and mineral rights.
Of course. And it's, the government.
Yes, and that includes the ranch.
Hey, so why do they call it Indian giving when it's always white nonsense?
Because that's what we did to the Native Americans.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's how we treat the Indians. We give it and then take it away.
Yes.
So you always,
it's not what they do, it's what we do to them.
It's set up to make it look like that's what they do, but that's what we do to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The only thing we didn't take back was the smallpox.
Yep. Well, it's hard to take that back.
Yeah.
Now, some of the Utes claim that the Navajo cursed them during a conflict because they chose sides during Native American U.S. battles. And they say that the ranch and the surrounding lands are, quote, in the path of the Skinwalker. Now, the Navajo are very quick to point out that they wouldn't work with a Skinwalker to curse someone. If they find a Skinwalker, they kill the motherfucker.
In this house, we kill skinwalkers.
Yeah. Now, do you guys know much about Skinwalkers?
I know about Luke Skinwalker.
That is a completely different franchise, sir.
Dang it.
It sounds like the lead character in the porn version of that franchise.
Oh yes. Yeah, Luke Skinwalker. Oh,
Luke Skinwalker and Princess Leia.
I was gonna say that. Thank you.
Han Solo.
Han Solo.
Han Solo.
He's just in there. He's just over in the corner being a cuck.
And Dick Vader.
Oh, God. Why is that the worst? Oh, God. So, a quick note on the Skinwalker.
Gives new meaning to the term Chewy.
Ugh. Okay, everybody. I gotta wash that one down with a drink so I don't throw up. Hang on. There we go.
C-3P orgasm.
Shut up. Oh, my God. So, a quick note on the Skinwalker. The show, Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, in the very first episode, described the Skinwalker as a Native American spirit. This is incorrect in every possible respect. The Skinwalker is sort of an anti-medicine man.
Like a plague doctor? No.
No, not really. That would be cool, but no. It is someone that has learned the ways of their magic and uses it for evil purposes and personal gain.
Oh, a farmer bro.
And they, damn, I guess so. But they commit the deepest sins of the Navajo, including incest and cannibalism.
Oh, libertarianism.
And damn, Mike, you're on a roll. Anyway, they are not allowed to live.
As all libertarians should be.
Jesus.
Well, you mentioned the cannibalism element, and there is a little bit of a crossover
With the Wendigo, yes.
with the Wendigo, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Native.
interesting.
Yeah, First Peoples are real big on don't eat people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's understandable. Also, this is as much as you're really going to find out about the Skinwalker, because the Navajo, which their actual name is like the Dene. Navajo is actually a bit of an insult. It means thief.
Mm.
But they've accepted it and they used the name.
They took it back.
They took it back. But they don't talk about this thing with outsiders, and I don't blame them. They don't want to draw attention to themselves by mentioning a Skinwalker. They also consider it cultural appropriation. So that's really as much as we're going to discuss about the Skinwalker itself.
Yeah. Basically, anything you've heard about a Skinwalker is bullshit unless it's been from someone in the Navajo Nation, and even then, they're probably fucking with you, you gullible bastards.
That's a very good point and very possible. So, after the place was given back over for settlement by white people, one of the first groups to settle there were, ironically, not white. It was the Buffalo Soldiers. You guys ever heard of these?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, famously portrayed by Will Smith in the historical drama Wild Wild West.
Oh, I hate you. Mike, have you heard of the Buffalo Soldiers?
Yeah.
Okay. These guys were an all-black regiment of soldiers on the frontier who were respected and feared by the natives for their ferocity and skill in combat.
Mm-hmm.
So these Buffalo Soldiers were also Masons.
Freemasons.
Yes. Not the pay
Well,
kind.
we need some sort of like clip we play whenever the Masons are mentioned. Just like, I don't know, like a screeching violin or something like that.
Or like the dun dun from
Yeah.
Law and Order.
There you go.
I just say it's like find a clip from Monty Python, just
So the reason I bring up the Masons is because on one of the ridges known as Skinwalker Ridge, around the ranch, you can still see the Masonic symbols carved into the upper part of the fucking ridge by the Buffalo Soldiers.
That's where they did
No
their secret
human.
rites.
What's that,
No
Mike?
human.
Yes, that's where they did their secret Mason rites.
I mean, they might have. And David, what were you saying?
I was going to say, no human could carve rocks in such a way.
Only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise.
Can't hit broadside of a Pueblo.
Now, I want to take a second and point out that this story is going to involve almost everything we cover on this show, and it's going to be way more entertaining than the Grand Unified Conspiracy Theory, okay?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm just going to get it out there. It's way more interesting. So the Buffalo Soldiers were eventually buried on their land, and the government came back through and built Native American housing there on the graves. They moved the headstones, but not the bodies. Seriously.
Okay, so when does Zelda Rubinstein get involved?
This Pueblo is clear.
No, I did not. That flew over my head.
Yes. Yes, it's the little lady from the Poltergeist movies. Oh, God. So, yeah, no, they seriously pulled a fucking poltergeist.
Well,
Jesus.
I mean, there's a great that happens everywhere. Like we found here in Jackson, when they were doing some construction for one of our for the
hospital.
the university hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They found fucking graves, unmarked graves for like what they assumed were mental patients back from like what 40s, 50s, something like that. Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, so they had to stop all construction and like figure that shit out for about a year.
It's the world's most morose puzzle.
Yeah. But guys, can we talk about the fact that the Indians were settling on a Western graveyard?
Hey, turnabout's fair play, I guess.
I guess so. I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway, I should point out that there's been a lot of strange things happening in the area of the Uinta Basin for a long time. Mostly UFO sightings. And this doesn't seem odd to me because, one, less light pollution, so lights and objects are easier to see, and two, there's nothing else to do out there in the Utah Badlands.
And three, it could also just be skinwalkers.
Are you telling me skinwalkers are airborne?
Or
Yep.
they have flashlights?
Ooh.
That's not the weirdest thing that's airborne in this episode. I'm just going to put that out there.
Okay, that's fair. The episode is called Refrigerators of the Gods. So, there's a book out there, in fact, though, called The Utah UFO Display, and I'm trying to track down a copy of that. So that's an actual thing. It was written in the 70s. What isn't a thing is all the reports of UFOs and electromagnetic anomalies on the ranch before 1994. We've got one person who says that he's worked out there on the ranch several times and has seen it all. And his name is fucking Junior Hicks.
Also sounds like the name of a Little League team on Letterkenny.
The Junior Hicks. I just think it's, someone from Aliens' son.
Oh, good point.
Game over, man. Game over.
Daddy, it's a bug hunt, Dad. A freaking bug hunt.
Why don't you just put me in charge?
Yeah. So.
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry. I keep defaulting to Margaret from.
No, just that
Meat
whole thing.
King.
Damn you, Mike.
It's a fun riff, man. So Junior Hicks. Junior's been the main source of information outside of the Gormans in the book Hunt for the Skinwalker. And he's a character. He has talked about strange lights, lake monsters, compasses going crazy, Native Americans being mutilated by UFOs and Bigfoot, and just about everything else you could hope to read about on phantomsandmonsters.com. So the problem with Junior, and the reason he and his reports aren't going to be brought up again in this story, is that he's the only one who has reported this stuff. There's no records of these missing people. There's no, quote, 15 generations of history, end quote, in the Ute tribe of this. There wasn't even 15 generations. There's no proof of or corroboration at all. If even like one person had backed the guy up, I'd talk more about it, but I'm not willing to shine more light on this guy because he's already got a fucking book here.
Well, that maybe he's too wily for those skinwalkers, and they got everyone else who was willing to talk about it.
You sound like he's a wascally wabbit.
Oh, that Junior Hicks, he's getting in trouble with the Duke boys again.
Ain't I a stinker?
Silly wabbit. Hicks are for skinwalkers.
Oh, God.
Smooth.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't finish
it. It's okay. It's funnier when it's glib. As for the ranch itself, it was bought in 1934 by Kenneth and Edith Myers. And they owned the ranch until they sold it in 1994. It is very important for me to note something here. Any reports of the Myers experiencing paranormal things during their 60 years of owning the land is all from Junior Hicks and other secondhand sources. So, when asked about the strange activity on the land that they used to own, The Myers stated that they never had anything bizarre happen, and that someone else must have put all the extra locks on the doors that everyone loves to point out after they left. Now, in 1994, the ranch was sold to Terry and Gwen Sherman. The Shermans didn't want their names out there originally in all this, and they used the name Gorman. And that's how I'll be referring to them, just because that's what it says in the book.
Gorman? You mean like Psycho Gorman?
Holy shit. Dude, you're right. Oh, man, this just became so much more badass.
He's a skinwalker.
They're going to have hunky boys. This is going to be great. Anyway,
I love Psycho Gorman.
I know, it's so good. I got to see that new one he's got about the Freakers. What is it, Frankie Freako?
Yeah.
Based on the Freaker phone line. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. That's a different show. So with the Gormans, that's where the weird shit starts. But before we start on said weird shit, how about we take a quick break and get some of the goofy out of our systems so we can have quality goofy in the next segment?
I'm sorry, there's like a base level of goofy, and we're there.
All right, that's fine. Well, we're going to take a very quick break, and we will be right back after this.
Hey man, what's got you off in your phone there?
Oh, just going through all the funny Mothman memes and supernatural shit posts I've been wanting to share. I just don't know where to put the posts yet.
Don't you know about the Supernatural Selection Discord?
We have a Discord?
Yeah, for years, dude. Where have you been?
Can people chat with the hosts and get previews of upcoming episodes and generally post funny shit as much as they want with other listeners?
I mean, if that's your bag. I mean, personally, I wouldn't do that, but there are even live streaming events for the shows there, too. You've been in a few. How do you not know this stuff?
It must have been my doppelganger. How do I get into the Discord?
It's easy. Just visit discord.supernaturalselectionpod.com. Now say that 3 times fast.
Well, that's perfect. Now I can share 3 terabytes of Hollow Earth memes. Get it? Terabytes.
Never mind. Forget I said anything. Just don't do that. You should definitely not visit discord.supernaturalselectionpod.com to join the Discord. We don't want you there.
Too late. I'm already posting my alien abduction fan fiction with the general chat.
Join the hosts and listeners of Supernatural Selection on the official Discord. Just visit discord.supernaturalselectionpod.com.
Arriba!
And we're back. I just want to, before we get started, justice for Prague Snarbo. Anyway, how are you guys feeling about this so far? I know it's kind of weird having actual UFO reports and a mountain of bullshit before we actually even get to the story, but I am curious to hear what you think about this so far.
You first, Mike.
I mean, we haven't really gotten to the reports yet. So.
Well, there were UFO reports, in the 70s, but,
Well, yeah, I'm just saying I don't know. I mean, so far it's just seeming like the Trail of Tears Part 2.
Oh, fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, well, everybody take a drink.
All right. So for me, it does a lot to paint the complication over this whole subject. We already have a torrent of bullshit being pumped into the history, and we've barely begun covering the story. So you've already got this wild trail of claims that is exerting a real influence in what I expect is going to be a more complicated story, because I've heard so much about this. It's I don't know, man. It's weird.
Well, it's one of the things that bugs me about the book is anytime a Native American reports something, they just take it as gospel. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, respect the Native peoples. That doesn't mean every human in the group is telling the truth.
No.
I'm just saying. Anyway, let's talk about the ranch's next owners, the Gormans.
Psycho Gorman.
Oh, Lord.
It's funnier the second time.
Yep,
Yes.
it's still funny, even after the commercials. So, in 1994, the ranch was bought by the family known in the book as the Gormans: Tom, Ellen, and their 3 kids, 2 sons and a daughter. The only son's name we really need to worry about is Tad. Now, which is an assumed name.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Gormans are an LDS family, which means they're Mormons. And they bought the ranch to get away from what they called small town gossip in New Mexico. And that just sounds weird to me.
Well, from what I've gathered from Holly, Mormons can be pretty catty and gossipy, so that tracks.
Well, yeah, from personal experience, I could see that. But, like, it's still like they weren't in a Mormon town in New Mexico, and they moved to a more desolate Mormon town. It's just weird to me. What were they running from?
Right.
So, the Gormans were cattle ranchers, and Tom dealt largely with breeding stock. So, if I mention milking here, it means something totally different from normal cows being milked.
You don't want that milk in your coffee. Hi-oh.
Oh, that's terrible.
Not the only semen joke I'm going to make.
Really?
No, I've got plenty.
Okay.
Said the bold
Yeah.
claim.
Yep.
I'm going to milk it for all it's worth.
Oh, that's gross. Oh, God. Just open the sluice gates. Let it all through. Anyway, Tom and the family finally move onto the ranch after getting the cattle moved there first, and the weird shit starts that first afternoon. After driving up to the ranch from the town of Vernal, the Gormans were standing there, taking in the beauty of the area. Now, I've seen the ranch, and it looks like a fucking desolate hole, but whatever. It was just at sunset as they stood by one of the corrals. And then, from the woods near the ranch, a large animal trotted toward them. It looked like a wolf, so everyone was on guard. But this was no kind of wolf they'd ever seen. The creature was about 5 feet high from foot to back and was gray.
He was drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's and his hair was perfect.
I knew that joke was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So the creature walked up to them and just stared at them. And after a minute, it started sniffing at them and seemed, well, friendly. The kids actually started petting the damn thing. Ellen was sitting there wondering if it was a pet of one of the neighbors.
So,
people breed dire wolves.
I was going to say, yeah, just a wolf, a 5 foot from foot to haunch wolf.
Uh-huh.
I think no matter how friendly it seemed, I would be getting in my car and leaving.
Yeah, I'd be calling a real estate agent.
It also reminds me of that scene in Fantastic Mr. Fox where they see the wolf in the distance and they just kind of like stare at each other.
Okay.
You never saw that.
That's who did that movie?
Wes Anderson.
You just answered your own question.
It's so delightful, but anyway.
Anyway, what happened next sort of sums up the whole experience of Skinwalker Ranch. After a few pleasant minutes, the wolf saw a young calf watching with its head sticking from between 2 of the bars of the fence. So the wolf loped over and slowly, while watching the Gormans as it did so, put the calf's neck in its mouth and started trying to rip its fucking head off.
Jesus.
Now, one thing you're going to learn is that the only thing Tom Gorman cares about are his animals. Just bear this in mind as we go forward.
I mean, maybe the wolf was trying to help. Maybe the lamb was stuck and it wasn't smart enough to pull from the other end.
No, it started trying to chew it. So the family...
Just trying to tighten his grip.
Yeah, the family started beating at the animal, trying to get it to let go of the cow, but it wouldn't. So Tom turned to his son Tad and told him, not for the last time, get my gun.
If you're playing Super Nat Pod Bingo, this technically counts as the "Where's my gun" space.
Okay, I guess we'll let that be. So Tad ran to the truck and brought his dad's shotgun. And Tom took aim, fired, and nothing happened. Shot seemed to have no effect on the wolf, but he hit it square. So after another shot, the wolf finally stopped chewing and backed away from the cow, staring at Tom the entire time. And Tom once again turned to Tad. Get the rifle.
Jesus.
Again, Tad returned from the truck with a rifle as the wolf began to run. Tom took a shot at it and heard it hit the wolf, but it once again had no effect. Tom and Tad took off running after it, which sounds like a Adventures of Dick and Jane verse, now that I read that out loud. They managed to track the thing all the way to the nearby river, where the tracks hit a mud bank and then just vanished like it'd been lifted off the face of the earth. Returning to the family, Tom was angry and ushered everyone into the house. Now, the book makes a big deal out of Tom being a, quote, real cowboy and a man's man and whatnot. It was also written by a nerdy scientist and a journalist.
Oh, man. So it's almost like someone writing about, like, Doc Savage or something, just like the pinnacle of manhood.
Yeah, if Doc Savage were a raging asshole, yes.
He's a man's man. I wish he would take me in his big manly arms. Oh, wait.
Yeah, no, it kind of has that feel. Like, I may have just read a slash fic. I'm not sure.
I wanted to call him Daddy.
Daddy! So, Tom gets angry a lot.
Oh.
And his family comes off as terrified of his anger and rages.
Very manly.
Yes, very manly. Legally, I am not implying anything. I will just say that the book paints a very clear picture of a terrified family and a father-husband with rage issues.
Well, I mean, you'd be mad too if you have hellbeasts and UFOs all over your bull semen ranch.
Damn it, aliens! Get away from my bull cum.
Get away from my cum!
They're endangering my bull cum reserves.
I think we just answered why the aliens are there. That's a lot of cum.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're there for. So,
yeah, this guy, he's hoarding all the cum. Let's get it from him.
We need that cum. So,
Jesus Christ.
So, after all that, Ellen went into town the next day to complain to the authorities about wolves on the property, and she discovered two things. First, the last wolf in the county had been killed by ranchers about 50 years prior because there's a lot of ranching going on there. And second, no one on the tribal council or in the authorities wanted to talk about the ranch. And I really want to talk about why that might be. Do you guys have thoughts?
Ghost wolves.
All the cum.
I think that maybe they got a whiff of Tom Gorman.
I mean, that's possible.
And they were like, this dude's an asshole. And we're like, we just don't help. Don't engage. Nope, no wolves. Get the fuck out. I don't know. I don't have any proof of that. This is all speculation.
Opening fire on supposedly non-existent wolves, like, I get it.
Sure.
I get it. It's like, yeah, it's a little crazy.
My husband shot a wolf that was the size of a Volkswagen. Sure he did. Mm-hmm. Now, that was just the first fucking day. And things did not get better. This is the only thing that could be described as a skinwalker in this entire story on Skinwalker Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly sounds more like a fucking dire wolf. Now, admittedly, the skinwalker is supposed to be able to put on the skin of an animal and become that animal,
Mm-hmm.
but it sounds like a dire wolf.
Yeah, like an actor.
Yeah. And what they saw way more of was a flying refrigerator.
NFL defensive tackle William Perry, how'd they get him off the ground?
God damn it.
I mean, sure, this wasn't like the Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
I don't know, but David, don't you ever defame the name of that wonderful member of the G.I. Joe team again.
No, I made that reference with love and appreciation.
Oh, I know. So, this next section is named after the episode, which is Refrigerators of the Gods, which I named it after all the times you do that joke, David. Blank of the Gods.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing about this whole story is that nothing really ever happens twice.
Keeping it fresh.
The wolf is never seen again in this whole thing. Right afterward, they start experiencing poltergeist activity involving large-scale farming equipment vanishing and then reappearing in a tree or somewhere else entirely. Ellen has similar shit happening in the kitchen. Tom assumes it's pranks. Ellen is not so sure.
Well, who hasn't shoved a combine tractor onto a roof a time or two?
Well, me with my back.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, have you ever done that?
Only in my youth.
Blame my youth. Oh. What is kind of seen regularly, though, is some weird shit in the sky. Starting with a flying RV.
Did it have a flying Christmas tree with it?
Fuck you. Fuck David preemptively.
Happy holidays.
Yeah. Merry fucking Christmas. So, Tom's city nephew Dave was sent out to the ranch by his parents to spend the summer, and Tom decided he's going to make Dave a man.
Oh, Dave is a name for a weenie.
I know a couple of Daves, yeah.
Exactly.
And they're both
no, it
weenies.
fits.
These are the Daves you know.
That I do know a shocking number of Daves, yes. So, making Dave a man involves keeping him outside, away from distractions, and working him constantly.
That sounds more like a slave than a man.
Doesn't it, though? You notice that?
Yeah.
Now, the book goes through a lot of trouble showing how big of a pussy Dave is and how manly Tom and Tad are. And it's at this point I was getting kind of sickened by the family.
The whole thing had a lot of Donny Osmond music and kung fu practice.
I swear to God. So, anyway, Tom decides that since Dave has a phobia of darkness, he's gonna make him start working at night exclusively.
Fuck.
While he, Dave, and Tad are outside working one night, they see a dark square object silhouetted against the sky that Tom takes to be an RV due to headlights. Now, Tom realized these were trespassers, and that the RV would have had to run over one of his fences to get in from that direction, so he takes off running towards it with the boys in tow. The RV started backing up and seemed to stay the same distance away no matter how far they chased them.
I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you.
Exactly. And this pissed Tom off. Like, he started literally wanting to beat the shit out of the RV.
I'm gonna punch that RV so fucking hard it's gonna be an SUV by the time I'm done with it.
This was before SUVs were a thing.
Yeah, he single-handedly, double-handedly invented the SUV. The other thing of note is they never heard an engine. So, he wanted to beat the shit out of this thing until it lifted off the ground, leaving the three staring at it in the sky.
Was it picked up by a bird or something?
No, it took off because it was a UFO.
Oh, shit.
So Tom described the thing as a flying upright refrigerator. This would be a recurring description every time the RV showed up or a ship was seen after or before a cattle mutilation. I find this interesting, actually, because of the South American phenomenon. I'm not sure if we mentioned it on the show before, known as the chupa chupa or suck suck.
Yeah, not to be confused with the chupacabra.
Indeed, which is goat sucker. So the chupa chupa would be described as a flying refrigerator, and it would pick up people or animals, drain them of blood, and then dump them back down from a height, shattering the body. Shocking number of reports of this.
We don't talk enough about the epidemic of vampire RVs in the American West.
Well, it's all those retirees, I tell you.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They, you retire, you buy an RV, start sucking blood.
Wow, man. I'm never going to Florida. Jesus.
Yeah, no.
What Westways is their secret communique amongst their order.
How many are in Clearwater?
Too many.
Man.
And don't get me started on AAA.
Oh, man.
You think it sounds innocent, but it's actually AAA type blood.
And then let's not forget that they got the flying tow trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, back to the story. At this point, Dave started crying, or so the book says. And it points out how big of a wuss he is compared to Tad.
Look, if I saw a flying fucking refrigerator and my uncle was damn well determined to beat it, I might have emotions as well.
This sounds... It sounds like some fucking PTSD shit.
I mean, justice for Dave, man. Justice for Dave.
Hashtag justice for Dave.
Dave's not a pussy, man.
Yeah, no. Dave was having a reasonable reaction to extreme situations. But on the plus side, a few days later, Dave's parents called for him, and after hearing about what happened, told him to come the fuck home because, frankly, I think Tom Gorman is a maniac. And Dave never went back to the ranch.
I mean, with blood-sucking RVs out there, I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah. And then on top of that, fucking Tom.
Yeah,
right?
No, yeah. Look, I could deal with blood-sucking RVs more than I could this Tom Gorman fella.
Yeah, no. I'm not trying to paint him as an asshole. I'm just telling you how the book paints him, and, like, it's not as heroic as they try to make it out to be.
A very different Tom goes to the mayor.
Tom goes to the mayor and beats the fuck out of him.
Also, it's telling that, they have to use these names in the book and not the real names. So
yeah,
and the actual whoever Tom's based on may not actually be like this. This could be all bullshit.
Maybe, who knows? But Tom in the book, okay, yeah, the real guy might not be like this, but Tom Gorman is.
Yeah,
let's say that.
And they might have used alternate names too because they would have gotten sued otherwise for all this.
It's very possible. Their names are up on the Wikipedia article about Skinwalker Ranch. I was shocked. I was like, holy shit, okay.
Well, I mean, it was a legal transaction. So,
yeah. It's in the county records.
Yep.
So about a month after Dave's not here, but about a month after Dave left, Tom and Ellen were walking along at sunset. Just enjoying the ranch, when a black triangle UFO flew overhead in a scene straight out of The Daytime Ended. In fact, this was the fucking scene that caused me to make the connection because I was like, I read this in Secret in Hunt for the Skinwalker.
So here's the thing, Kevin. If you're living in a situation where you're having your innocent normal days and then weird shit happened, eventually you'd stop getting surprised by it, wouldn't you?
I that's how I play my Call of Cthulhu games. After the first encounter, you kind of stop having the sanity loss. You're already nuts.
I mean, so look, after the initial giant wolf thing, I'd have been like, all right, I'm out. Peace, Holmes. I'm Shorty. I'm out of here.
Shorty. So, thank you for that, Mike. So, this triangle UFO buzzed them and flew around with a light on underneath and seemed to be scanning the ground looking for something. And after it left, an angry Tom and a frightened Ellen went back inside and didn't discuss any of it.
That sounds like par for the course for the Gormans.
Yeah, I'm detecting a lack of healthy communication in this family.
Oh, motherfucker, it don't get better. So, one night, while Tom was out of town doing cow cum business, Ellen was returning from town from doing shopping when the triangle returned. It was fairly large, and it hovered over the family pickup as she was driving, and it followed her all the way back to the house.
Without Tom there to defend the cow cum, the aliens are going to get it all.
Indeed. So Ellen ran inside, and she called Tom on the phone in a panic, and he told her to calm down. He couldn't leave right then.
Ellen, I got a big load on my hands. Can it wait?
God. So after that, she decided to have some dinner in an effort to calm down. So she just cooks a fucking meal.
Yeah, just fucking okay. Do the box macaroni and cheese and some hot dogs, I guess. Fuck.
So after dinner, while doing the dishes, she's looking out the window, and there, in the field, was the RV again. Now, Ellen didn't describe it as a refrigerator, but then again, she wasn't fueled by Tom's clarity of rage.
There's just something so comical to me about having dinner and doing dishes as a hell buzzes your ranch house.
Yeah, I would be like, once again, I'd like, all right, I'm going to town.
She just got back from town. I'd be in a fucking Motel 6.
Turn around and go back, and like, hey.
We're done at the ranch, y'all. Yeah.
And where's the kid
Sky Bus? The Sky Bus is buzzing. It must be Friday.
The kids are doing their homework or something and not paying attention, I guess.
They didn't mention where they are.
Now, this time, the RV had brightly lit windows, and she could see into the RV. She said she could clearly see a desk inside, with a figure seated at the desk, and it had on a headset of some kind and a black business suit and stared straight at her through the windows. It then stood up and walked to a side door where it was silhouetted, and Ellen got a good look at it before it stepped out on the ground. Standing there, staring at her, was a giant man in a business suit, and he just stood there watching her wash dishes. It was a man in black.
Do you have a pen?
Did you leave any food? I would like some food. I don't know what food is. Teach me how to eat food.
Just look into the red light.
Yeah.
Do you like my whip?
I'm ghostwriting the whip right now. So, God damn it. In a panic, Ellen called Tom again, screaming about the RV and the man in black. And Tom decided he needed to be there, so he drove through the night to get home.
I hope he washed his hands first.
Yeah, you don't want to get cow cum all over your steering wheel.
Yeah, it would be very slippery.
So, while she waited for Tom to get back home, the RV eventually just sort of took off into the air again and left.
Well, my work is done.
I freaked you out. I have to go and piss. So, the following day, after Tom got home, he inspected the area where the RV had been sitting. There were no tire tracks or marks from the vehicle, just like last time. But there were footprints. Giant footprints.
Sexy footprints.
That's right, guys. We have here our very first Sasquatch man in black.
Oh.
Just imagine Harry from Harry and the Hendersons wearing a nice suit and tell me you're not charmed.
Oh, I am down for that. Just that grin, After that, the family decided they're never going outside at night again, except for Tom.
Bulls aren't going to jerk themselves off.
Fuck. Oh, God. So, I feel like Tom was starting to lose it a bit here.
What do you think?
He went out every night in the winter cold with a sniper rifle, fucking hunting UFOs.
Healthy man.
Healthy.
That sounds like your retirement plan.
Shut up. Don't talk about that in public. Now, usually he saw nothing. Now, once he saw the triangle ship again and described it as a stubby F-17 with disco lights underneath it near the Masonic Ridge, which is, again, Skinwalker Ridge. Now, before we move on real quick, Mike, what is a F-117?
That's the stealth fighter, the Nighthawk. It's the one that looks like it's, a black diamond because it's all angles and facets.
Gotcha. Okay, so, awesome. Not the bomber, but the fighter.
Yeah, are basically the very first, real stealth aircraft.
Yeah, the one that looks like a black triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
that was tested around that area. Right. Now, the book makes a big point at right now of Tom having a perfectly good set of binoculars, but he prefers to use the scope of a sniper rifle.
It's real will enter a standoff with the FDA energy.
So I just thought of something. What year was this going on?
This was 94, late 94.
Yeah, and the F-117s were based out of Nevada.
Near Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not at Area 51, but
no.
At, I can't remember.
Nellis?
Base. One of those.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, again, that's all well and good, but Tom is still out there with a sniper rifle trying to shoot it.
You should have tried to shoot it. That would have been fun.
Oh yeah, no, government shows up. You never see Tom again. This book doesn't come out.
Just waiting for the ping.
Get him. So it's at this point Tom starts seeing portals in the sky.
Jesus. Okay, why not?
Yeah, at this point, fuck it. Now, these portals faced the house, and they were only visible from the house. If seen from the side, there was nothing. If seen from the back, there was nothing. But if you're standing at the house and looking at it, there's a portal. And they would turn up at sunset or later, and through this orange tunnel, Tom could see the sky of an alien world. And sometimes orbs or triangles would fly out and head to the ridge.
No way. He caught a glimpse of the 1990s Eurodance music video dimension. Cool.
I feel like he saw the Trapper Keeper world.
To this guy, seeing the New York skyline would probably be an alien world.
I don't know.
Was he just looking at the sun and burning his eyes?
Well, it would happen at night too, so
okay.
Take from that what you will. Of course, there were portals in the daytime ended. Anyway, so that winter, the cattle mutilation started.
Jesus Christ.
Again, everything is happening on this ranch. Now, we haven't, tackled cattle mutilation much on the show, but several of Tom's extremely expensive cum cows would turn up with their sex organs and parts of their faces cored out.
Jesus.
Seeming to have been cut with burns around the edges of the wounds, which is fairly common for cattle mutilation
so
stories.
they lost their banana organs.
They did, in fact, lose their banana organs to Serpo. So the bodies would be completely without blood and sometimes look like they've been dropped from a height.
So the bodies without blood thing always felt weird to me because how do you gauge that? Because,
no blood on the ground from gaping holes, I guess.
Well, yeah, but
this is a guess.
Here's the thing: is that after a long enough time, all the blood is going to have congealed in a dead body.
In a body, yes.
And so if you cut it, no blood will come out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So I'm
just saying that's one of those things
it's a good
weird to me.
It's a good assumption.
That how do you know? Like if I found a body, How could I know it had no blood in it?
I don't know. Maybe he like reached up in there. He's obviously been reaching inside cows a lot.
Only one way to find out.
Yep. We got to go out to Pulaski, Mike. We're going to fill up some cows. So, anyway, Tom would, of course, call for a veterinarian and the authorities and everything, but each time they told him it was coyotes. Now, if we're being honest, I actually believe there's some wiggy shit going on with cattle mutilations. As many jokes as we make about it, it is fucking weird.
Now, see, my question is, how are these coyotes getting a hold of these UFOs and asshole borers?
Acme.
Man, that would be a really, really fucked up Looney Tunes short, and I kind of want to see it happen.
Wiley, a coyote with a saw and a laser just coring cow assholes.
So here's the thing, though, is that with the cattle, quote-unquote, mutilations, is that I've seen National Geographic or whatever videos of hyenas, instead of going...
They go for the asshole, yeah.
For the assholes. So why couldn't it be coyotes just eating butt?
I thought you were going to suggest it was the great North American hyena for a second.
No. But I'm just saying, scavenger predators are going to do the same thing and go for the path of least resistance, which apparently is the butt.
Now, some of these happened in unique situations, like when Tad was out, trying to herd the cattle in a rainstorm, and he saw one down in a river, or not in a river, but like in a little gully thing, with it starting to flood, and he was like, all right, I'll come back for it. I got to get the other cows safe first. So he does that, and like 15 minutes later, he comes back, and the cow has been cored with its asshole and face gone. What's that?
It was the dreaded Kandiru fish.
Oh, God. So, you were going to say something, Mike.
I was going to say, that's still probably coyotes.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I still think there's some weird shit going on with cattle.
Maybe with a flash flood, maybe it was a log that just kind of like shot through the cow.
Are you telling? No, it was not a tree missile.
Maybe he's lying. Maybe he was the next day he went out because
who
he
knows?
Got lazy.
Who knows? But it was at this point Tom actually started to get worried.
Yeah, I mean, that is an entirely human reaction, and that makes a ton of sense here.
Again, family's getting fucked with. He's fine. You fuck with the cows. Anyway, I bring that up because it wasn't his family that worried him. Ellen was becoming paranoid due to continued poltergeist activity. And the kids were starting to fail in school and just looked fucking haunted.
Mm-hmm.
But Tom was worried about the cows.
Well, of course you're not worried about the kids because they're looking haunted and failing in school because, he's an abusive asshole.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. But they actually started to beg him to sell the goddamn ranch at this point. But Tom refused to be driven off just because his family was falling apart mentally.
But Ellen, kids, we're sitting on a gold mine of bull semen. We just need to get past this whole UFO flap.
I'm just trying to imagine writing out a fucking UFO flap. This bad.
You don't want to get bull semen near your UFO flaps, I'll tell you that much.
Actually, they want to get near the bull semen.
If you give a mouse a cookie.
Oh, God. Gross. Now, I want to tell this next story because it's dumb as hell. It's 1995. At some point in 95, around spring or summer, a hippie showed up on Tom's land. Now, word of strange happenings had started to leak out from the ranch due to Tom contacting the authorities and the vets and anyone that could, help him. But occasionally, these investigators would show up, and Tom would run them off. I'm guessing with a rifle, but I don't know. Anyway, this guy that showed up, this hippie, was, quote, from California, according to Tom. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to meditate on the ranch. And for some reason, Tom decided he let the guy do it.
I like the cut of this hippie's jib.
Never met a hippie jib cutter. So Tom drove this guy around the property with Dad until the guy saw a spot he wanted to meditate at and was like, "This is it, man. Let me out here." And the guy goes out into a field and he sits down and, cross-leg. Where are we calling it now? Crisscross applesauce?
Yeah, crisscross applesauce.
And he starts meditating. And Tom and Tad are just standing by the truck making fun of the dude. And that's when, I shit you not, something huge and invisible bursts from the trees and charges the guy. And this gives me real Dunwich horror vibes.
I was going to say the next Predator sequel is sounding pretty great.
I want you to think about that. So, like, the trees are moving and the trees part, and you can, I guess, hear the thing running. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Tom laughed at this invisible thing running at the guy, and then decided to let the hippie know he's in mortal danger. So the guy senses the thing in front of him and screams and runs back to the truck and latches on to Tom with a bear hug, crying and pissing himself and begging to be taken back to his van at the entrance of the property. Remember, Tom's telling this story.
Mm-hmm.
Tom then delivers the line of the story. "If you do not let go of me, I am going to hit you."
Ah, the traditional Gorman family greeting.
Like, if he had a crest, the Gorman crest would be like a jar of mayonnaise with bull semen in it, a UFO,
A closed fist.
and a rifle, and in Latin, "If you do not let me go, I'm going to hit you."
Jesus Christ.
That is the Gorman family seal. Anyway, so Tom drove the poor guy to his van, and the guy jumped in his van and drove off, speeding, and that's a story of how Tom Gorman scared the shit out of a poor hippie with the help of an invisible occult monster.
Jesus Christ.
I don't even know, like, it is such an outlier of the rest of the book.
Especially with, like, just how calm Tom apparently was with this. Like, hey, you want to see some cool shit, hippie?
The fact that he's working with the phenomenon to scare a hippie.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
well, hippies, Tom's natural enemy.
And apparently the phenomenon as well.
Like this literally just starts sounding like Scooby-Doo. Like, maybe it was a real estate scheme right there.
Yeah, I don't know, but...
Fucking Shaggy comes wandering up to the property.
Zoinks, man, I heard there's an invisible magnet monster, dude. So, earlier I mentioned orbs flying out of portals.
As one does.
As one, especially on this show.
Especially when you're thinking with portals.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these weird little orbs would come and torment the cattle, herding them into dangerous situations. And Tom and Ellen saw one up close as it watched them once. And this is interesting. Now,
just leave the cattle alone.
You would think.
Yeah.
Maybe it was trying to play with them. I don't know. But, most of the time when we talk about orbs, they're just like glowing orbs, They're just like plasma or something. But not this time. Tom described it as looking like a thick glass sphere with some form of glowing, bubbling, electric blue liquid inside. And it gave off a static electric sound and feeling, and it could psychically force them to feel fear.
Okay.
Oh, they came
Some
from
anime bullshit.
What was that, Mike?
They came from the Fear Factory.
Yeah. Here in my car. So the orbs would torment and chase the Gormans and their cattle and make threatening moves toward them. But they could sometimes be driven off with a flashlight.
It's like batteries not included, but much more hilariously sociopathic.
Yeah, if those things were assholes.
I was thinking more
Right.
like the Explorers.
Ooh, good point.
There you go.
So it was these orbs that finally convinced Tom to sell the goddamn ranch in 1996.
Yeah. So
Which?
Go ahead.
Oh, you first, Mike.
I was going to want to point out here. So this points to all this shit happened in 2 years.
Yes.
2 years.
He owned the place from 94 to 96 and then finally had it with the orbs.
Yeah, and the orbs being the line here is also very interesting.
It is.
It was the syringe that broke the cow's cum.
Yep.
Back. I don't know.
That's gross. Wow. Now, bear in mind, there was a lot of weird shit continuing to happen here. Like, there were, paranormal red birds nobody had ever seen before and other shit. Read the book if you want to hear more, but...
Just fucking red birds now? What the hell?
Yeah, no, it's just every fucking weird thing you can imagine happened on this goddamn ranch. So, anyway, 1996, one night, Tom saw an orb come down out of the sky, and he had his prized cattle dogs with him on the porch, which Tom had a fuck ton of dogs over the 2 years he was there. And the problem was they would run off or disappear.
Because he yelled at him.
So Tom sees the orb, and he just starts getting pissed off at this ungodly, evil orb, and he sicked the goddamn dogs on it.
What the fuck the dog's going to do to an orb?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So the orb started playing keep away with them for a while, working them up into a frenzy before heading off into a copse of trees some distance away. I don't know if I'm saying that word right. The copse, whatever, of trees some distance away. And Tom said that once they were all inside the copse, there was a terrible electrical crackle, the sound of screaming dogs, and then a terrible silence.
Jesus Christ.
Tom waited on the porch for hours, but the dogs never came out. And Tom decided to wait until the next morning to check for the dogs. But all he found amongst the trees were several greasy, burnt marks on the ground with the horrible smell of burnt meat. And that's when Tom decided they had to leave.
Yeah, I'd leave after my encounter with Dog Melter 3000.
All right, Dave, really, think about all the other things. There's plenty of other shit that would have had me out of there. Like, you know, the Bigfoot in black, the bib.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, melting dogs is pretty high on the list, and this is kind of fucked.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying that, you know, that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
it was, again, not his family suffering.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was the animals. It was losing the animals that made him decide
his
it.
prized dogs that he had so many of, and he replaced them.
And
on
his
a regular
prize
basis.
come cows getting cored. I mean, anyway, with that, we're going to take a break because my throat's about to die here. And then we're going to discuss who bought the ranch afterwards and the silliness that ensued. So, we will be right back after this. Hi everyone, this is Kevin from Supernatural Selection. Are you an independent creator? Do you have a webcomic or an Etsy store? Do you 3D print things? Or are you just looking to get some word out for your Discordian cabal with social terrorism? Well, we'd love to help. And David, I believe you've got some details about how we can help.
Why, certainly. If you go to supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact, that is supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact, you can learn how to advertise with us.
That's right. I believe the rate is $2 per episode. You can't beat that with a stick.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, we've tried.
Yeah, that's cheap. That's literally cheaper than dirt.
Mm-hmm. And best of all, if you're not sure how to write an ad, we'll do it for you. We'll even record it.
Absolutely. Just let us know what you need in the ad, and we'll be happy to do that for you.
And again, that URL is supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact.
And now, back to the show. And we're back. Now, I know this has been a lot, but how are you guys feeling about the Gormans?
So, thinking about over break, like, their case reminds me of a lot of these stories of, like, hauntings where logic dictates that people just fucking move. But the reality of the situation is that, like, the financial stakes are too great, and people can put up with just about anything when property is on the line. I mean, I can't say I wouldn't be the same way if I had a house and the devil himself kept shitting on my doorstep. I just kind of accept it, you know what I mean? But it's interesting to see when these cases get to that breaking point, and it's just interesting to see where that line is when it comes to the supernatural bullshit.
Yeah, Mike?
I don't know. I think if you're, I've seen people move for way less.
You think you'd nope out pretty early, huh?
I mean, look, it's not worth, all the cow cum in the world isn't worth, this, if this is real.
Right.
I mean, this
all the cow cum in the world.
white flight has nothing on this shit.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Well, first, before we go forward, that section was a best of
Oh my god!
the things they experienced. There's more that's boring and stupid.
So bull sperm, a quarter or cubic centimeter can bring as much as $5,000.
Holy shit! Okay, maybe I would put up with the aliens.
Well, it depends on the quality too.
Well, the book says he's got the best bulls in the world, some of the best bulls in the world, which means some of the best bull semen.
Well, obviously they're I'm not going to say his bulls are shitty in the book.
Oh, he'll sue, I'm sure. But here's the thing: this next section has more incidents, but like it's kind of out of order because this is a part where NIDS took over writing for the most part, and it's kind of stream of consciousness until the end.
Okay.
But anyway, we're going to be moving on to the ranch's second owner, Robert Bigelow. Now, by 1996, the Gorman story had hit the media. And this is when I first learned about it on a show on Fox called Sightings that came on before the X-Files. Now, Tom managed to levy this whole thing into selling the ranch for $200,000 to one Robert Bigelow. Now, Mike, what can you tell us about Robert Bigelow, business gigolo?
So he's a what do you call real estate and hotel magnate from Nevada.
I really thought you were going to say pumpkin-headed dipshit, but thank you.
He's a landlord, so
Yeah.
He grew up in Nevada and Las Vegas. Went to University of Nevada and Arizona State University. Made a buttload of money in commercial real estate, hotels, motels, and apartments.
Wow.
And yeah, he claim to fame is he owns the Budget Suites of America, an extended stay apartment chain founded in 1987. But it said at his height he built 15,000 units and purchased another 8,000. But unloaded a good bit in the 2008 crash.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
Did he used to dress up as a cowboy, like cowboy hat and everything?
I've seen him mostly in just like shirt, not really much ties, but definitely like blazers and open button shirts. He might have wore a bolo tie. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at him. He does look like he really wishes he was Burt Reynolds from Smokey and the Bandit.
So he's also done other stuff, like in '99 he founded Bigelow Aerospace with the aspiration of doing space hotels. But during the COVID pandemic, he basically, with no warning at all, shuttered it and laid off all 88 members of his staff. But there is currently a experimental module from Bigelow Aerospace attached to the International Space Station. It's called the BEAM, the Bigelow Experimental something module. I can't remember what the A stands for. But yeah, so that's still up there. That was launched in 2016. It's been up there. It's been almost 10 years now, and it's been inflated the whole time. But all that Bigelow's inflatable stuff was based on previous NASA research.
Yeah,
in
he just
was done
built
in the
it.
1990s. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Mike.
Sure. And he got duped into buying a ranch.
Again, Scooby-Doo real estate scheme. Now, Bigelow also had an interest in the paranormal after he saw a UFO. So, of course, it ruined his fucking life. He bought Skinwalker Ranch and founded an organization with enough funds to get to the bottom of what was going on there. That organization was the National Institute of Discovery Science, or NIDS.
Terrible name. Sounds like some kind of syndrome.
Yeah. I got to thinking about it. That stands for Natural Infant Death Syndrome. So, now NIDS was founded with two goals. One, find proof of UFOs and extraterrestrials, or find out what UFOs are. And two, is there life after death?
Okay.
Oh. So, yeah. So in his Wikipedia, the other thing it says is, in 2020, Bigelow founded the Bigelow Institute for Consciousness Studies to support investigations into life after death. He currently, in 2021, he put up a $1 million reward asking for essays arguing for the existence of life after death.
Please prove it for me. Please clap. So, yeah. This guy,
he doesn't seem like he wants to die anytime soon.
Indeed. So, NIDS would have access to as much funding as they needed to look into the paranormal, but they had to produce scientific evidence according to their charter. Bigelow staffed NIDS with brilliant scientists. Colm A. Kelleher, the author of Hunting for the Skinwalker, along with George Knapp, was one of those scientists. And I kind of believe that the others were legit scientists. Because during and after their involvement with NIDS, they insisted that their names never be attached to this so that they would continue to have careers in the scientific field.
Like me during group projects in high school.
But yeah, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, at least with this, I think Bigelow was actually trying to prove something. As opposed to, like, make money off of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because he never made money off this.
Like he occupied the ideal position, which is just the guy who gives the money to the scientists.
Right.
Yeah.
He was the Mr. Big. So, the first thing they did was hire Tom Gorman to manage the goddamn ranch.
So the Gormans didn't run far enough.
They lived off-site. Somewhere near
But
Vernal.
still, look, you think they would have, like, gotten all the way, like...
I'd be in Massachusetts by this point. Like, on the other side of the goddamn continent.
Maybe at least, on the other side of the state or something. Come on.
Something. But no, they were in the area, and they hired Tom to manage the fucking ranch. So they purchased some of his cattle to keep at the ranch and essentially keep it running as a business to recreate the situation that the Gormans experienced, which is not a terrible idea from a scientific standpoint. Well, except for the whole hiring of a traumatized rage monster.
You can take the bull semen out of a rancher, but you can't take the rancher out of the bull semen.
I was going to say more like a traumatizing rage monster.
A little of both.
don't think anything can traumatize Tom. I think he's just there. He's just a rage golem.
Tom Gorman, the inciting incident.
I keep picturing like the anger guy from Inside Out.
Yes, that's exactly what I keep picturing.
Just the voice of Lewis Black.
I didn't before, but I will now.
Yep. So Kelleher talks a lot about his first day on the ranch and meeting Tom, and he says the minute his feet hit the ground at the ranch, he felt something was menacing and strange about the place.
Exactly what you want a scientist to think.
Yeah, which sounds real scientific and unbiased.
Well, science is very much a discipline founded on whether or not the vibes are sus or not.
God damn it.
Vibes-based science.
I hate that.
I'm looking forward to that in the next 8 to 10 years.
Oh, yeah, once all of our IQs have dropped another 10 points. Anyway, he characterizes Tom as a solid man's man who really knew his stuff.
Wait, what are all these people that are like just jizzing themselves over Tom?
Yeah, and again, I don't know that Kelleher had ever met a fucking cowboy before this, so he may just have his own ideas about him. So Nids decided to come in and set up a field base in a trailer with surveillance equipment everywhere. And this was against Tom's recommendations. Tom said that the phenomenon, which he believed had a mind, would simply not perform for them if there were cameras everywhere. He said you had to go in like a big game hunter and sneak up on it like he did with a sniper rifle.
Nothing quite screams OSHA violation like a bunch of scientists encouraged to be sneaky in the presence of a traumatized and armed rancher.
Yeah. So the NIDS team managed to see some lights in the sky relatively quickly, and they took photos. And when developed, the lights were not in the photos. And after a long while of staking the base out, they returned to Vegas and Bigelow empty-handed. Now, almost as soon as they left, something weird happened. They received a frantic call from Tom that a cow had been mutilated. So, Nids loads back up in Bigelow's private jet, and they trek back out to the ranch. The cow, while showing many of the typical signs of mutilation, which we discussed earlier, was far more grisly. First, and this is an odd description from the veterinary expert, the limbs had been, quote, surgically ripped from the sockets and thrown all over.
That's quite the contradiction.
Surgically ripped from the sockets. Second, the side of the cow was exploded outward and had a, quote, river of maggots flowing from it. Third, God, that's poetic. Third, it decomposed entirely too slowly.
Norm Macdonald would describe that as a real mess.
I just picture, it's a real mess you got there. Need a mop or something. Some kind of clean up those maggots.
Jesus.
Sorry, I miss Norm Macdonald so goddamn much.
Right?
Anyway, yeah, Mike?
I was going to say, decomposing entirely too slow. How they come to that conclusion?
Dude, I don't know. It's just, that's what they had in the book.
I don't know. I'm just saying that.
Look, NIDS has never been praised for their scientific methods. So NIDS' conclusion on this was, they didn't really have one. They took photos and wrote reports, and they all agreed, yep, that's weird. Too bad we weren't here for it.
That's the most unappetizing barbecue I've ever seen.
Oh, God. Ugh. It's like eating at the Sizzler.
It had maggots, so it was there for a while.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They said I want to say in the book they said the maggots showed up too fast, but I don't fucking know. Anyway, More cows would both be mutilated and seem to just be lifted off the face of the goddamn planet. More dogs vanished or were blown up.
Fuck.
All while Nids is off site. And it takes them 5 hours to get there.
Just enough time to explode a cow.
Apparently.
And only Tom's there. Common denominator.
Yeah, so, like, they're there for days at a time, and nothing happens, but the minute they leave...
And Tom's all by his lonesome.
Him and his family.
Maybe he's just, like, punching the cows and they explode.
He just has a shed full of fireworks.
Oh, he's One Punch Man.
Shit.
So, of the incidents that happened while Nids was not there, there was small red orbs chasing a bunch of the cows off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Have we considered that maybe Tom's just really bad at this?
Mm-hmm.
So, a dog-fox-coyote hybrid attacking Tom's horses that he kept at the ranch and chewing on their legs.
That was just Tom chewing on their legs.
There were reports of this thing seen off the ranch, though, so that's kind of interesting.
Yanaglachi,
baby. So, a fucking MST reference, yes.
Werewolf.
That's absolutely fascinating. So, a giant invisible magnetic kaiju that blocked out the sky somehow and psychically told a farmhand, "We're watching you."
All right, I don't know what the fuck anymore. This is just, they're just like making shit up and seeing how much they can milk these rubes for.
No, this is great. And you'll want to make special note about that magnetism for the next couple of incidents. And the last one, Ellen was magnetized one time.
Well, I mean, that's what you get when you build a ranch over a hellmouth.
Yeah, but no, his wife just became magnetic for about 20 minutes.
But she got better.
She got better. She kept sticking on the refrigerator. Couldn't get the door open without pulling her away from it.
Yeah, no, they used her to keep the cabinets closed. Okay, so this last one is also real fucking crazy sounding.
Oh, really? This one is?
Yeah, but this is the one they go into detail on in the book.
Okay.
So Tom and Ellen are driving out to check some fences or something, and they're passing by a corral with 4 of their prize stud bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And Ellen says, quote, "I don't know what I'd do if we lost those bulls," which is the equivalent of saying, "I'm 2 days away from fucking retirement in a cop show." So, after checking the fences, Tom and Ellen drove back by, and, of course, the bulls are gone. And so Tom and Ellen jump out in a panic to look for the bulls or for clues. And Tom, for once, isn't angry. He is terrified and confused. And then they found the bulls. Next to the corral, where the bulls were being kept, there was a small-ish trailer with some furniture and equipment and stuff in it. And Ellen happened to glance in the window, and there they were. All 4 bulls standing cheek to jowl, crammed into this tiny space.
Is this a fucking Far Side cartoon? What is going on here?
I don't know. I don't fucking know, David. I've lived with this book for months now.
And he wishes he hadn't.
You're not wrong. This is not the worst book I've read, but when you get to this, and then the one after this is so fucking weird. So Ellen called Tom over, and Tom remarked that the bulls seemed like they were frozen or in a trance. They just stood there barely breathing with their eyes wide. So Tom smacked the side of the trailer with his fist. And with that, the bulls woke up and went fucking apeshit. They completely destroyed the interior of the trailer until Tom could get the door open and get them out and back into the corral. So, of course, 5 hours later, Nids shows up. And they're inspecting the situation. Now, the bulls were surprisingly fine after their little adventure. And after taking some readings, it turned out that all the metal around the corral, the fencing, the metal material in the trailer, and it had all become magnetized. And this lasted for, I believe the book said, about 72 hours before fading away and all metal returned to normal. Now, Mike, the fuck? Science this shit for me.
I mean, so things can get temporarily magnetized from lightning strikes. Because all magnetism is
electromagnetic. Yeah, it's electricity, right?
But I don't know. I don't. Either they're lying or full of shit or recorded things wrong, or I don't know. Because this just sounds way too
paranormal,
way too, I don't know, made up.
It's the most. Not the most, but it's pretty fucking paranormal sounding. So,
because like the metal itself would have to be hit by the lightning to be magnetized.
Sure,
so, but how did the cows get in the trailer?
They were obviously attracted to it from the magnetism.
Are you saying cows are virus metal?
I was going to say magnetism.
Yes.
Oh, God damn it. David, I want you to punch yourself in the mouth. Thank you.
Give myself the Tom Gorman special. Got it.
Yep.
Just like...
We're going to have to call violence in these stories pulling a Gorman from now on.
Yeah, just like lobsters are magnetic, cows are too.
Oh, yeah, right. I forget. You got a lobster, you got a magnet.
Yeah.
And lobster got antenna, but don't you grab it. I'm sorry. I completely forgot my science. So... NIDS made a huge deal out of the magnetic anomaly, the invisible magnetic monster that only Tom could see, and Ellen being magnetized that one time.
Magnets, how do they work?
Now, none of this had any physical evidence, of course, so in the end, there was nothing they could do except look sheepishly at Bigelow and just sort of shrug.
Now, did anyone try to stick a refrigerator magnet to Ellen once in a while just to check?
I don't know. That, once again, is not listed in the material. I would have tried to, stick something to her. I don't know. So, while Nid saw quite a few lights, as I said, nothing really ever showed up on camera. Everything that did looked like a small light in the sky that could be accounted for by, a plane or a star, but... There was one incident that Kelleher and an unnamed scientist experienced that is completely batshit insane. Now, I made sure to check the date on this one for some reason, and it was August 25th, 1997, so about a year into Bigelow owning the ranch. So Colm, Kelleher, and the other scientists were set up on a ridge, not Skinwalker Ridge, watching the ranch for anything strange at night. And they had their night vision gear and low-light cameras and all sorts of things. And after hours of nothing had happened, they decided to pack it all in. So... once the equipment was packed away, the other guy decided he wanted to meditate to see if anything would happen.
Another hippie?
What are the odds?
What is up with meditating on this ranch? And how is that scientific?
They're just sleepy.
I guess so. This other dude starts meditating, and an orange light appears in the field below them. So Kelleher shook his friend to get him to snap out of it and look, and once he did, they broke the equipment back out and hunkered down to stay hidden. And Kelleher starts snapping photos. The orange light grew and grew and grew until it was probably about 5 feet across or so, by his estimation. And his friend had the night vision gear and started freaking out. Kelleher asks him what's wrong, and the guy just kept yelling, "It's a tunnel! It's a tunnel, and I can see into it." And all Kelleher saw was an orange light. Now, his friend completely lost it after this and started yelling that there was something crawling through the tunnel toward them. And he said that the entity was big and humanoid. And once it was on our side of the tunnel, it stood up to its full, massive height and loped off into the woods. Now, after this, the orange light shrank and faded away, and as soon as they thought it might be safe, Kelleher and the other guy ran down to take readings and photos with a flashlight, and there was, of course, not a goddamn thing. So, before moving on to the last thing, also, when they developed the photos, there's like a little bitty orange dot in the picture. That's it.
Okay.
So, before moving on to the last thing to report, any thoughts on that one?
Kool-Aid Man trying a new entrance.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea.
It's a fucking weird one. I'll give you that.
It's weird, but it's also like full of bullshittium to me. But that's, this is one of the ones where I'm like, I don't know if I believe that shit.
Well, Kelleher, as far as I can tell from what we have, is one of the, I guess you call him like one of the good ones. He seemed.
Yeah, he also seems kind of dopey and easy to convince of things.
Hey, fair.
Like Tom Gorman being a decent human being.
Fuck.
Anyway, so one time the Nids crew was all at the ranch and making plans. I gotta tell this story. When the phone rang, and it was their neighbors at a nearby ranch, the Gonzalez family. And they told them they needed to run outside real quick because a UFO had just flown over their ranch and it was headed their way. And it was shaped like a big sombrero. The Gonzalez family.
Oh my god.
In a burst of excitement, the Nids team ran out into the field with cameras and tape recorders and every piece of small equipment that was portable that they could grab. And they stood there for 3 or 4 hours staring at the sky waiting for a flying hat. And nothing ever showed up.
Just so fun to fuck with those gringos.
They got pranked.
Mm-hmm.
They got punked. It is the funniest thing in this story to me because the Mexican family told them there was a sombrero flying toward them. Just what the fuck? And these guys stood out there for 4 hours waiting for it.
Wow.
So this last incident to report from NIDS is also in 1997. One of the cameras went out. Of course, NIDS wasn't there, but Tom was.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cameras went out right when a cattle mutilation occurred. And when Tom checked the camera, the wiring had been ripped out of the camera itself and out of the junction box thing at the bottom of the pole. So, NIDS, once again in Vegas, flew out to investigate and realized that a camera had actually been pointing at that camera, so they ran off like maniacs to watch the footage. And once the footage was played back, there was literally nothing to see. No visible movement and nothing on or near the camera or pole that would account for the wires coming out.
So, here's the thing. With the activity on the ranch that was reported and the financial backing they had, why did they not simply set up a field operations center and have a person stay there for a couple days at a time?
That seems too logical.
Yeah, it sounds to me like they did a shitty job at actually planning their field research. We know the grounds are RV friendly, right? Get a fucking RV.
Okay, first off, they did. They had a trailer command center, and they stayed there for days at a time, and nothing happened except for the Bigfoot portal. it never happened until they left.
Yeah.
And Tom was there to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. That was the last incident that happened on Skinwalker Ranch for the entire time Robert Bigelow owned it, from 1996 to 2016. So from 97 to 2016, nothing happened. He'd allowed some folks to homestead on the ranch after that, with the instructions that if anything weird happened, they'd call him. So again, eventually in the 2000s, NIDS would be disbanded, and in 2016, Bigelow would sell the ranch to one Brandon Fugel, and his adamantium real estate based out of Las Vegas.
Fucking nerd.
And we will talk more about him and the aftermath of NIDS in part 2 of Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh shit, it's a multi-parter.
Woo! So that leaves us in a very weird place. What in the hell went on at Skinwalker Ranch? I don't know how much I trust a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the few Native American stories of strange happenings, like I said, are treated as gospel because they're Native American.
Mm-hmm.
Junior Hicks is the most unreliable of unreliable narrators. Tom Gorman and his family were the only witnesses, and so much of this and the activity almost completely stopped with the arrival of NIDS on the scene. Now, that being said, there are some strange lights out there. They've been seen enough that a book about them was released in the 1970s. Why didn't the light show up on film? I am going to point us back to the super spectrum.
Oh shit.
And the idea that we're psychically completing a circuit with a phenomenon. We're seeing it because we're seeing it. It's a personal experience for the person present. Or it's fucking Earth lights. And again, I think maybe something is happening in this cattle mutilation situation. There are so many reports of it around the western U.S. that I'm not willing to write it completely off.
Oh, I mean, we obviously have a cow serial killer that's been active for years, guys.
God fucking damn it, David. I don't even... While I finish this, you think of a name for a cow serial killer. At any rate, the original incidents at Skinwalker Ranch are at the least a fascinating read. And it's not hard to see why the paranormal press and eventually the mainstream would pick up on this. It's weird as fuck. The Gormans didn't want attention drawn to themselves, and back in the late 90s, everyone just wanted to believe in something. So, what do you guys think?
Well, considering that in this little stuff I was looking through stuff, the very first owners, when asked about weird stuff happening, the Myers, they said no.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, they said so. I don't believe for a second that this stuff for the 2 years that they owned it, all this weird shit started happening. That I think they're just, I don't know, weirdos.
Maybe
I think Tom might have some screws loose.
Oh, obviously.
Like not even in just the rage department. I mean, maybe seeing things and, psychotic or something. I don't know if, all this is to be believed.
I could definitely believe that given everything we've just read.
Right?
Yeah.
The Gormans keeping this sort of thing semi-private to the degree that they did, it does lend a kind of credibility in certain regards, at least with the mutilations.
So you say they keep saying they kept it private, but they only owned it for 2 years. Yet in those 2 years, it became known
national
enough in the paranormal community.
Again, it's just kind of like a kind of situation. Like we've seen a lot of cases where there are families that get really traumatized by this stuff, and they're hesitant. They hesitate to like mention it widely, but I don't really get that with the Gormans. Like Tom, I feel like he was up to something.
I think maybe it wasn't so easy to raise cattle on that ranch, and he was like, I gotta unload this shit.
I got cows and I got fireworks. Let's go.
And I got cows, I got fireworks, and a whole bunch of cum.
It's probably a shit location. Like there are other cattle ranches in the area, but this might, not every, square foot of land is going to be, good for that. So it might just be a shit location that,
Yeah.
Yeah. And just the fact that there's very little to do with actual skinwalkers, whatever they are on this ranch. Like, it just, again, it's called Skinwalker Ranch, but, like...
There's no skinwalkers.
Yeah, it's like John Travolta walking in and looking around, as Vincent Vega, just like, we're the skinwalkers.
Yeah. No, I get that. That is fun.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just, like, okay, I feel like they took a perfectly innocent UFO flap and threw a shitty sci-fi movie into it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just fucked.
Yeah.
There had also, according to Wikipedia, they've been like, the area had like kind of cattle mutilation stuff going on for years before. So they could have taken the local,
that quad state area, the Four Corners area, just cattle mutilation city.
And you said too that Bigelow didn't make money on this. He didn't lose all that much money either.
Really?
He bought it for $200,000 and he sold it for $4 million.
That's true.
So I mean, sure, that's 20 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't have the inflation calculator, but I'm sure in 20 years of inflation, that 200,000 was probably closer to like maybe $1 million. But that's still a $3 million profit.
Yeah.
Off. I mean, not profit because all the other NIDS stuff. He probably paid a couple mil out of pocket for all this stuff they did over the years. But he still
he made some money back.
NID sounds like a pretty nice job though. Like you get to use the private jet. You don't have to find any achievable results.
God, if we need to find like a patron like that.
Yeah, we need. Hey, Mr. Bigelow. We will take back a lot of the shit we've said, sir. If you would like to head over to patreon.supernatpod.rocks and fund our little endeavor here, we will take back everything we've said.
We'll investigate the afterlife for you.
Look, all I'm asking for is a station wagon, okay?
Just an RV. No, hold out for an RV.
Okay, an RV with a station wagon for a dinghy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's all we're asking for, man. That and living money.
Yeah, so, that'd be cheap. That's like what maybe.
It's not a
lot.
Like
$80,000 a year.
Yeah, call me. So, that's Skinwalker Ranch. So, guys, did you enjoy that one?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think we were firing all cylinders on this one.
That was a fun one.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one. As usual, you can find everything you need to at supernatpod.rocks. That is supernatpod.rocks. You'll find a link to our Discord, our Patreon, our store, and every episode of both this and the Distraction Hole. Before we go, David, do you have any plugs?
Nothing at the moment. No, just join the Discord. Yeah.
Mike?
Nah, I'm good.
No plugs.
No, not really.
I'm a cultured girl. So, the last thing I'm going to say is we're also on social media. You can find us at SuperNatPod, at HorrorHub.club. If you're on Mastodon, and if you're on Blue Sky, you can just look up SuperNatPod. We're there, we're posting, and we're having fun. It's a fun thing. Yeah. So, We'll be back next week with a Weekend Weird and hopefully a hell of a lot less Margaret voice. And we'll see you then. God damn it. So, until then, stay safe and stay frosty. Goodbye. Get my gun.
Boy.
Don't
It
forget
is
to.
weird.
I was gonna say, don't forget to walk your Skinwalker.
God, can you imagine the baggies you'd need for that thing?
Skinwalker, Texas Ranger.
Oh my God. Okay, well, that's my next ebook we're gonna have to work on.